I was born in Arizona, and my ancestors helped settle this state. They came here seeking freedom from religious persecution in other parts of the country. They found it here, and they found it in Utah, and they've benefited from it everywhere else. It's up to us to keep it. And in just a few weeks, religious freedom is going to be on the ballot, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But before I do that, I want to tell you a brief story about the kind of man Donald Trump is. You see him on TV, you hear his speeches, they're great. Interpersonal conversations with him are fascinating, they're always interesting. A few years ago, I was with my wife's family one day. He called me. He had a question about some legislative matter moving through Congress. By the end of the conversation, it was a Sunday afternoon, he said, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I said, "I'm with my wife's family. Her mom is very sick. It probably won't live more than about 24 hours. And he immediately said, "Give me the phone." Actually, he said, "Give the phone to Sharon. I want to talk to Sharon." My wife put him on speakerphone, and he comforted the entire family. The kind of empathy this man shows, and I've seen that over and over again. I saw it when we had people from my state overseas. A lot of people from my state travel overseas, sometimes preaching the gospel, sometimes doing business or something else. Some of them will get in bad circumstances. Whenever that happened, I'd reach out to the president. He'd get them home because he cares about people. He cares about us. One of the things that makes Donald Trump great is that he understands that while it's government's job to protect life, liberty, and property, sometimes the greatest threat to life, liberty, and property can be government. That's why we have a Constitution. That's why we need one. And that's why he respects it, because he knows it's about protecting you. Back to religious freedom for a moment. In every conversation I've ever had with him about anything, whenever the subject of religious freedom comes up, he's there. He's there for believers. He's there for non-believers. He's there for people who are from mainstream religious sects and those people who are from religious minority groups, like me. He always respects those. You know who doesn't? My former colleague, current Vice President Kamala Harris. Ladies and gentlemen of Arizona, her signature legislative agenda focused on an ironically named bill called the Do No Harm Act. And of course, when a Democrat names something the Do No Harm Act, you know what it does. Lots of harm. It would gut, leaving nothing left of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, passed in the 1990s with overwhelming bipartisan support, signed into law by Bill Clinton, of all people. She wants to gut it. There will be nothing left. So what do we think about this? Real Americans. In Arizona, do you want your religious freedom gutted? Are you ready once again for a president who will keep us out of wars rather than starting unnecessary new ones? Do you want a president who wants you to succeed, to make sure that the government stays out of your way? He'll help you succeed. Do you want that? Finally, are you ready for a United States Senator in Kari Lake who will represent you and stand with Donald Trump? I'm proud to say that Arizona, the state of my birth, I'm related to about 2/3 of the state, so, my ancestors had lots of kids. I'm proud to say that in just a few weeks, the state of my birth, Arizona, will play perhaps the most pivotal role in securing the election of Donald Trump and of Kari Lake to the United States Senate. Thank you very much.